The teachings of Buddha, the essence of suffering, how to lighten the heart. Introduction. What is suffering? In our lives, there are various forms of suffering. Daily stress, struggles in relationships, fear of failure, and anxiety about the future. These burdens weigh heavily on our hearts and drain our minds and bodies. However, according to Buddhist teachings, suffering is not unavoidable. With the right understanding and practice, we can reduce it and lighten our hearts. Buddha deeply contemplated the nature of suffering and taught its causes and solutions. This teaching is called the Four Noble Truths, which reveal the essence of suffering and show us the path to liberation. Understanding the root causes of suffering and how to address them is the first step toward lightening our hearts. Chapter 1. The Causes of Suffering. The first of Buddha's Noble Truths, the truth of suffering, teaches that suffering exists in life. This suffering includes not only physical pain and illness, but also mental anguish like fear, anxiety, desires, and attachments. Why do we suffer? The answer lies in kleshas, afflictions. Kleshas are mental defilements that cloud our judgment and prevent clear thinking. Particularly, desire, anger, and ignorance are major causes of our suffering. Desire leads us to endlessly chase after unsatisfied cravings. Anger arises when our expectations are unmet, and ignorance means not understanding the true nature of things. These kleshas cloud our minds and generate suffering. Chapter 2. Misconceptions that create suffering. Our suffering does not come solely from external events or the actions of others. In fact, much of it comes from our own internal misconceptions and fixed ideas, which amplify suffering. For example, placing too much importance on others' evaluations or on achieving societal success puts unnecessary pressure on us and makes us fear failure and disappointment. Furthermore, we often fall into the trap of believing that everything is permanent. However, Buddhism emphasizes the concept of impermanence, teaching that all things are in constant flux and nothing lasts forever. By accepting this truth and embracing impermanence, we can free ourselves from the fear of loss and the grip of attachment, which lightens our hearts. Chapter 3. Liberation through Buddha's teachings. Buddha's teachings provide a clear path to completely eliminating suffering. This path is the Noble Eightfold Path. The Noble Eightfold Path consists of right view, right intention, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. By practicing these steps, we can purify our minds and overcome suffering. Right view involves seeing things as they truly are, free from preconceptions and biases. Right intention refers to letting go of selfish desires and anger and cultivating compassion and empathy toward others. With such attitudes, we can alleviate our suffering and bring peace to our hearts. Chapter 4. How to let go of attachments. Many of our sufferings arise from attachment. Attachment to material things, relationships, status, and fame binds our hearts and strips us of freedom. Letting go of attachment is not easy, but Buddha taught that understanding anatta, non-self, is essential for this. Anatta means that there is no permanent, unchanging self in any being or thing. We often mistakenly believe that we are distinct and special compared to others, but in reality, we are part of the natural world, ever-changing. By deepening our understanding of non-self, we can liberate ourselves from selfish desires and learn to let go of attachment. Chapter 5. The Power of Meditation. Another powerful method to lighten the heart is meditation. Buddha showed that through meditation, we can maintain calmness of mind and overcome the kleshas that trouble us. Particularly, samatha meditation and vipassana meditation are effective for easing suffering. Samatha meditation focuses the mind on a single point, calming the inner noise and bringing mental stability. Vipassana meditation, on the other hand, involves observing things as they truly are and experientially understanding the concepts of impermanence and non-self. Through Vipassana, we can overcome attachment and ignorance, which are at the root of our suffering. Chapter 6: Compassion and Interacting with Others. To lighten our hearts, it is also essential to reflect on how we relate to others. Often, conflicts or competition with others create stress in our lives. However, Buddha taught that by cultivating compassion, we can maintain peaceful relationships and preserve inner calm. Compassion is the wish for others to be happy and the desire to remove their suffering. By considering not only our own well-being, but also the happiness of others, we expand our hearts and free ourselves from narrow, self-centered perspectives. Practicing compassion reduces feelings of anger and hatred toward others, deepening our understanding and empathy. Conclusion: freedom from suffering. According to Buddha's teachings, suffering is not something we must accept as inevitable. With the right understanding and practice, we can overcome it. The causes of our suffering lie in desires, attachments, and ignorance, but the path to transcending these is clearly outlined. By following the Noble Eightfold Path, practicing meditation, and cultivating compassion, we can lighten our hearts and achieve true peace and happiness. Suffering is a part of life, but it is not something we must endure forever. By changing the way we view and experience the world, we can reduce and ultimately overcome our suffering. Practicing Buddha's teachings and purifying our minds will allow us to lead lives of freedom, calm, and joy.